Good morning and welcome to A Closer Look. I'm your host, Lynda Fontaine. Today my guests are Margaret and David Douthat of Douthat Insurance. They are co-owners and brokers of Douthat Insurance. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Now, Margaret, I've worked with you for the last couple of years. I'm always coming to you with all my insurance questions. Tell me what's going on. Aren't we doing open enrollment for a little while longer now? When is that ending?
So Monday, December the 7th is the last day for the Medicare open enrollment. So people still have time. Sometimes I think they feel like, oh, well, today's the last day, so I can't do anything. But you have time. You have plenty of time. And most of us that are in this business are working on the weekends. So, just give us a call.
Okay.
But the purpose of the open enrollment is to give people who are already on Medicare the opportunity to actually explore, are they on the right plan for themselves the next year, or should they make a change? And there's several options. There's Medicare supplements. There's Medicare prescription plans by themselves. There's Medicare Advantage plans. And I have never seen the benefits look more competitive and better for the consumer than this year. I mean, there's some really tremendous opportunities for individuals. So it's always good. People are kind of leery about change. They don't like to necessarily do that. But we always encourage our clients to at least take the opportunity to look and make sure that what you're currently enrolled in will be the best product for you for the next year. The things that tend to get people unexpectedly would be cost differences in their prescription. So sometimes the cost of a medication can not look too bad right now, and next year it could drastically change, and that will catch people by surprise. So that's another reason that we're always asking people to at least take a look. In this area, the providers are typically pretty stable as far as networks. So we don't see that being an issue for most individuals, but again, it's medication and just simple benefits. So it's always a good idea to take a look at that. And again, you still have time, okay?
Well, and you've made a good point, because I came to you and you were saying how things had changed so much since the last time I had talked to you, because in this environment, things are changing all the time with the different, changes in the government and stuff. So we never know from one year to the next what has changed. Is it going up? Is it going down? Do we have to have insurance? Can we not have insurance? So it's important, I think, to keep a good relationship with your broker.
Yes, I thank you. Kudos for that. But, it's so important to have someone local that you can speak with and that can help you. And that's one thing David and I take a lot of pride in, is that we're not just trying to help a client get enrolled in a plan, but we want to make sure that our clients are well taken care of throughout the year, whether it's questions about the policy or they have issues with their claims. Anything of that nature, we want to be able to help them and help take care of that issue for them, rather than them feeling kind of stranded in that. And then just sometimes, you kind of learn what those benefits are, but then you don't use them and you forget, and that can be a puzzle in itself all over again. So we're always wanting to help our clients the best that we can for that. And the other aspect is, there's so many different choices and so many different options. So again, this Medicare open enrollment is for individuals that are already on Medicare. That's confusing sometimes, because people will be getting ready to go into the Medicare program, maybe in March or April or May, and they're thinking they have to do something right now. So we do try to alleviate some of that confusion, help people understand exactly why they're having this open enrollment and how that's impacting those individuals. But thank goodness that we have that opportunity. People can make those changes, because they could be in a policy that's not working well for them, and now they have that opportunity. So it's very similar to when you've had employer coverage. Each year you kind of have that opportunity to take a look and make a change if you want to.
Yeah, that kind of drives me crazy that we only have this window of opportunity. I wish it was like that all year round. I don't fully understand that concept, why we have to do it within like a 2-month period, as opposed to if I want to change my insurance or something in March or April. That's confusing to me. What's the
I think some of it's just to stabilize the system, because if you were moving in and out with deductibles and maximum out of pockets, it would, it could really put you in a bind. Because if you went from one insurance company to another, then that would change all of that. Then you'd have to start all over again. So if you did that 2 or 3 times a month, it would probably cost you more money in the long run.
Well, see, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that to me. Probably a pretty basic thing that most people understood, but me, no. I had to have it explained to me. I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that to me, David. And speaking to you, David, you're like the expert with the veterans in Medicaid and Medicare and that sort of thing. Tell me about the changes or how that's going.
Well, we've been very fortunate. We have some new policies just come on this year that's tailored just for veterans. So if you're using the VA or you have TRICARE and you're getting your prescriptions at the VA, then there's plans available now at no cost, and you get some of your money back that you're having to pay for Part B. And it's just, there's a lot, it's a pretty rich benefit all the way across. And it's set up just for those people, but they can work for people who have never had prescription drug coverage and don't want to pay the penalty. Then those plans are available so they don't have to pay the penalty. Still don't have prescription drug coverage, but you do have health care coverage and a lot of extra benefits. There's a lot of added stuff that you get when you go on to these programs or choose one of these policies that's going to help you out and give you more money back at monthly, and some of it is pretty considerable. It's well worth. Sometimes when I'm talking to the veterans, they're like, I can all this at no additional cost, and I say yes, because your Part A and Part B is paying toward this, and because you don't need prescription drug coverage, so it makes a big difference, and it's a pretty nice benefit.
I think that's awesome. I think of all people, our veterans should be taken care of, and that's very important. And I'm glad they have somebody to talk to help muddle through all this. This stuff can be so confusing. So I think it's great that they can talk to you about this and figure out the ins and outs of it all.
Yeah, it's, and I'm a veteran. I just came back from Iraq about 3 months ago, my last tour. I'm retired now from.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. So I understand. I'm in that world. I understand, how that works and how the VA works, because I do go to the VA also. So, and of course Margaret's just as much an expert, but we do have that knowledge and that understanding of how all this works together. So we'd be happy to speak with anyone that wants to sit down and talk about it.
I love that. And I think it's important to know your brokers. And speaking of that, we were talking before that there's a real concern out there these days with scammers. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you again for asking that question. This year, just like I said earlier, that the benefits are super rich this year and better than I've ever seen. I think the scamming is even, higher than I've ever seen in that regards. So many of my clients have expressed phone calls that they've received that were almost harassment type phone calls or threatening. In addition to the phone calls that people are receiving, there's mailers, there's the commercials that are just kind of feeding into a confusion. And so it's just best, what I tell my clients is, please do not give out any information. Don't do that over the phone. And make sure that you have someone local that you can just speak to that can explain it to you and has your best interest. That's the primary thing, because when they're receiving these phone calls, they're talking so fast and giving them so much information that's not always all accurate, and so we just want to protect these individuals. And that's the biggest thing that David and I strive to do. Whether you have Medicare and you're looking for something, whether you have Medicare and you're a veteran, whether you have Medicare and Medicaid, there's so many opportunities out there, and at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure that each individual is, receiving and achieving the best policy for them. And these are very individual policies, so it's great to talk to family and friends and church members, but at the end of the day, what's best for you, is based on what your medications are, who your doctors are, and what you're utilizing. And so we want to do that for them.
It might be good then, Margaret, for people to say to these scammers, why don't you mail me some information? I'll look at it that way. Because people, I think, get desperate. And if it sounds too good to be true, oftentimes it is.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Mail me something, give me a phone number, I'll call you back. I'll have my family member who takes care of this call you back. And that usually puts an end to it if it's not legit.
And I keep going back to this, but because I have had some of those phone calls, and having one son that has been in a situation where he got furloughed, he didn't have insurance, and he got sick. And as you know, I was desperate trying to find some insurance to help cover for things. And I did get somebody calling me a scammer. And I thought, wow, this sounds just too good. So I told them, well, call me back. And they did. But meanwhile, I did some research and found out they were a scammer. And I mean, that was a close call for me. So that's another benefit of having someone local that you can talk to and give them a phone call and say, hey, help me understand this.
You know,
Yes.
one of the things we try to do, we represent all the companies that's in this region. So there's no company that can call you and give you a better deal because all is set by the federal government. So there's no reason to deal with someone that you don't know that may be, may worry you a little bit. And, we can work with you in any of those plans.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And another concern is a lot of times people think that they're actually talking to a representative from Medicare. And, we try to stress over and over, Medicare is not going to call you.
Okay.
Social Security is not going to call you. They're not in the business of enrolling you in a plan. They will reach out to you if you call them and you leave them a message, but they're also always going to follow up with something in writing. So at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that every client, everyone out there who's got Medicare takes that time and that opportunity to look, give us a call, come to our office. We'd be delighted to work with you.
And on that note, Douthat Insurance, 220 Broad Street, Suite 201. In fact, you can see Margaret through the window and give her a wave. It's right here in Kingsport, downtown. They're open 9 to 4. Phone number 423-765-9084. Do you have a website?
We do, Douthat Insurance, and we're on Facebook as well.
DouthatInsurance.com. Okay, very good. So thank you so much for being here today, you two. I really appreciate it. You always are a font of information, and there is a lot to have to go through with that insurance. So it's nice to get a lot of these things cleared up. I appreciate it. And we will be back in just a moment with another guest on A Closer Look.